Dun da da da. Da 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 da.
Ah,
Hey
James
yo,
is.
Yo,
how's your back, man?
Oh yeah.
it's doing okay. Yeah, last few days have been just one thing after another. So,
Is it
No.
is it lower back?
yeah, it's kind of like lower left ribs area.
Hmm.
I can
Mm.
definitely still feel it. I mean, it's not blinding pain anymore, which I'm going to consider a step up. But you know, it was a
Dude,
fun day.
breathing hurts when you're like everything hurts. But it's
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
Yeah.
your beard looks nice. It looks like you trimmed it, maybe. I don't know.
No, I just showered today.
Oh, that's lovely.
Nice.
You should do that more often.
I know. I've been trying.
You know what? There's a lot of people can't pull it off. It works for you.
Showering?
I read a listicle about it.
You won't believe these 9 life hacks.
Showering.
Tip number 3: scrub the grime off you.
Get a chisel.
Use this handy dandy invention called soap.
So app.
I hit you up, Val.
Does she see that you said hello to her 4 minutes ago?
I don't think so. I'm just gonna let her have it. She'll yell at me if I try to correct her.
She got really mad at Jason. Like, can I join the call?
It's like I did. Okay.
What?
It's okay.
I mean,
I
well,
said
well,
hello.
well, no, you said, hi. I said, and then nothing happened for a while, and then I was like, is a call going? And then you just said, yup.
I have been talking to you for 5 years. Howdy proceeds ready in every interaction we've ever had since the beginning of time.
So you were waiting for what, me to say? You ready for this?
No,
you
never
were
mind.
just
It's
supposed
fine.
to say hi.
That's
That's your
that's all.
line. Your line is hi. And then
But I
Jason
said
goes,
hi first.
Oh, we didn't get that.
I didn't get that on this end.
That's where the confusion lies.
Ah.
Oh, so
Jason.
I
that
was
makes
here. I can promise you,
sense.
it didn't say hi on our screen from you. Jason just said howdy, and then you were like, "Am I allowed to be in the call?"
Oh, okay.
Don't hit me. I just went.
Val, stop being so abusive.
All of that said, look at those little otters holding hands on your shirt, though.
Yeah,
look
it's
cute.
a MeUndies onesie.
Aw.
Okay. Never mind.
I
What?
just love that we're
Say
talking
it.
about you being abusive, and it's like you're the cutest ever right
You
now.
are. Yes, that's how you get away with the things you say. But this is also how you get called 12. That's all I'm going to say. You're wearing a literal
Listen,
onesie to
it's
this business
very
meeting.
cold here,
He
and
makes
it's
fun
gonna
of
be
my
very cold
onesies too,
tomorrow.
Valerie. So, you can be an adult wearing a onesie. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is currently 39 degrees.
Jason just hates fun.
I do. It's true. Jameson, is your camera on?
Yeah, can you not see me?
No.
I
Mine.
see him.
I know. It's our Skype. It's dumb.
You
Let me
should make
toggle it.
faces at him right now.
Oh, I
Because
was.
he can't see it.
Hang on.
Aw, he disappeared.
I want that onesie, though. For real, Susan.
Perfect. Love it. All right. Make
Good, good. Are we recording?
Cabaret. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
All right. Okay. I'm feeling good.
All right.
Who's feeling
So-
good?
As you guys know, we're on a bit of a time limit, but is Jasper coming?
He should be.
He said he has to restart his computer.
Oh, okay, cool. I should have opened Discord because I probably would have learned that.
You know what? I'm just gonna have him over on the side here in case he does show up.
Whoa.
Now he's restarting his router.
Oh, poor guy.
Aw.
I know that day.
Well, then we'll wait for Jasper. Yeah, I got a DM workshop at 6, but we can go almost up to the minute if we need to. which I know we got a lot of heavy stuff to talk about today. I imagine each meeting's just going to get heavier until.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a pretty strict timeline tonight because there's lots of stuff going on this end. So I need to kind of get in, get out. But
Why is the suggested location for this meeting Greece?
I don't know. Grease-free exhaust, it says, needs to be. That's where we should be meeting, apparently, according to Google.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm guessing that's a. Oh, I thought they meant like Greece. We need to go to Greece, like just.
You know, that would be lovely. No, we have to go into an exhaust place.
Hmm.
Exhaust. There we go. I just kept saying it wrong.
Oh,
wondering why
like
they
grease
spelled-
free.
Yeah.
Exhaust.
I was wondering why they spelled
Yeah.
Greece incorrectly.
I'm smarter than Google. The other day, we were at Safeway, and it was really late, and I was super tired.
Stop giving excuses.
I looked at some cookies, and I was like, and it was like a combination cookie brownie, and I was like, ooh, duets.
It was duet.
Is that like the brand?
No. It was just like
it was
all.
duet cookies.
Yeah, there were two things they smashed together, and it's like duet. Like it was like.
Yeah, and I was like,
No,
duets.
duet.
With
Duet.
such confidence. I like yelled it because I yell a lot of things.
There's a
Jason
half
just stared
second.
at me, and I
Well,
was
there's a
like,
half second where I'm
"What?"
like, "Are you joking? Are we doing a bit?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I should have gone with it. I should have been like, yeah.
Duh.
But instead I went, what? What's wrong? Like I challenged him on it. Then I realized my mistake. Hi, Jasper.
Hey, sorry, I don't know. My Wi-Fi just decided to die. I just had to restart everything.
You're good. You're coming in crisp.
You look cozy, but also in the abyss.
And the abyss.
Yeah. Like you're just...
Well, it's my bed. So yeah.
It just blank space behind you.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, I'm floating. I should be a floating. I would have like a blue screen. It could be a floating.
You look
head.
like God because it looks like you're wearing like
Yeah.
all black and there's just white behind you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, welcome to heaven.
You look
No,
like you're
glad
being
you made
stored in Magneto's prison from X2.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, you look like you're in a supervillain prison, for sure. Or like you're the bad guy in every movie that hates technology. You know?
Oh yeah.
Right? Anyway.
It's
Where's
like the
my
lack of
turtleneck?
shadows behind you, or any like definition.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean,
Okay.
it's not very glamorous. It's you know.
Ooh, that looks comfy though.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, you're good.
It looks plush.
Where's your
Not,
onesie?
it is the abyss. Though. My onesie.
Yeah.
Valerie's
For
wearing a
later.
onesie.
I'll send you
so-
pictures.
All right, next meeting, we're all gonna wear our onesies. Is that cool
Okay.
with everybody? All right, good.
I don't know if
I
that's
wear
a
a
look I can pull off.
threesie.
It might
Don't
be
worry,
too
I have
warm.
a one size fits everyone one. So.
I doubt you do.
I think I do. I trust the tag.
I highly recommend MeUndies. They're very expensive. I tried having my grandma buy me this for Christmas. Didn't work because she didn't understand the onesie part and just bought me a ton of underwear.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
And then thought I was weird for asking her to buy me underwear.
can you?
Jameson, how's your underwear going?
You know what? Pretty nice right now. Yeah, just in general. Just nothing's wrong, so everything's great.
yeah.
That's the thing about underwear. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
So welcome to our underwear podcast. We got everybody on the big team, and so here we are. We've got a title and everything, and a theme song. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Undies, 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 undies.
Undies.
Oof. It's my new ringtone. So welcome to the thing.
All right, so we're on a time limit and we can't be,
Doing the thing we always do? Yeah,
Right now.
Yeah.
All right,
Problem
so,
with working with friends.
You know what? I'm jumping right into it. Print Ninja. I have a list of things that we need to ask them already. I know we need to know the spine. We need to make sure that the leather edition has the same dimensions as standard edition. Jason and I are going to ask about getting more books printed. What else?
We need to know the image size for the hardcover And the wraparound cover, we talked about that because it folds around the tops, bottom, and side of the thing, so it's bigger than the actual size of the cover itself.
Yeah.
We need to know what that image size is.
Over.
I forget what the term is for that. What did that wraparound? Might just be wraparound.
I think it's a wraparound.
I
Ask them
bet
about the
they
wraparound.
know. That's the...
Yeah, I've hit them up before and been like, hey, you know that thing that folds out of books? And they were like, yes, the gatefold map. And I was like, thank you. I'm gonna try to remember that forever. And then I emailed them again, going, you know that thing that folds out?
Yeah.
So.
That, and I probably would want to start asking them about estimated printing and shipping timelines based on delivery time. Just so we can get a ballpark for that too.
Yeah, I got that on there too. I just
I had
realized we
another
need
one,
the
too.
gatefold map dimensions.
Yeah.
So I wrote that down.
I had another one too, but I can't think of it right now.
Well, if it comes up in a meeting, we'll jot it down.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to check my notes. So I think that the main thing that we need to talk about today is the overall timeline and production schedule.
Yeah. For sure. Sorry, I'm just moving the stuff around here. Yeah, so there's 1,000 things that we probably need to all talk about, but I definitely I'm flagging this as a conversation. You may or may not want to stop the recording right now, for real. So I'm going to share my screen. You don't have to stop the recording.
Okay, Jesus God. I never know if you're joking or not.
No, I'm kind of not joking, but it's really up to you whether you want to have this, because it may become a conversation, and I don't know if you want this to be included or not. So I'm going to share my screen. I might disappear. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So here's Jasper's checklist for setting book. This is in the Google Drive, so anybody can go look at it if you want to.
Right.
This is my checklist. This is just the way that I think about things. So I created it based on the wonderful lists that are coming through in the Discord. They are, for my brain and putting layout together, they are disconnected. And so I have to put it all in one place so that I can, get a sense of what to do and what not to do. That's the reason that this exists.
Right.
As you can see, there are good things in here. There's lots of regions. By the way, even if it's not done, I have done the layout for all of the regions. Even if that means that there will be copy and pasting to be redone. In other words, think of this as the almost next to final draft, but if I didn't do it in layout right now, I'm just waiting. So I'm putting stuff in layout now, and it's not lorem ipsum. It's as close as I know it's going to be. Yes, the length is probably going to change a little bit if there's another sentence added or a paragraph is taken away or something like that, but it's roughly the same, and that gives me an idea of what I need to be able to. Right. So that's kind of point number one is whatever the deadline is, forget a specific date, but just the way that I need to manage this project is on my end, I can either wait until a section is done. For example, let me go back to my screen. Sorry, I forgot that I was sharing it with you on there. For example, let's say Welcome to Alara, right? Or the introduction, that's all sort of one thing now, right? If I wait until these are all completely done, like 100% done, and I'm like, you've done it, Jameson's done it, everybody else looked at it, 3 other people have looked at it, your dog looked at it, and then I get it back as a check, hand over to Jasper. I'm waiting until a long time. So that's not going to work, I don't think, because basically that means that I have to do all of the work at the very end.
Right.
And that's how I would prefer to do it, because that means that there's no issue, right? I can go off in a closet, you don't talk to me for a while, and then you get a book. That's kind of the idea behind that.
Right.
However, since we have deadlines that we need to consider, the only way that I think I'm going to be able to put all this together is to actually put what I have and what you've got at least maybe there's some edges here. Like, for example, Titan Shard. That's kind of like who knows, but I'm just leaving a gap in that section, right? So everything else is done in that section, or at least should be. This goes all the way down through absolutely everything, including races and classes and characters and all that kind of stuff. Now, everybody's with me up to now, right?
Yeah.
All right. Second point that I want to be able to make is, first of all, by the way, this is a tough love reality. Let's huddle up conversation. Okay? For real. I think about project plans daily. That's what I do. I'm not a producer, I'm not a project manager, but I manage projects constantly with creative people doing creative work. So I have created a little project plan. This is done in this is like the quick and dirty version. I see it this way. I don't know if you can see this well. Should I zoom in a little bit?
I could see it.
I can see it. Yeah.
I could see it.
All right, cool. Well, I'll zoom in anyway. Whatever.
Too late.
Can you
Um,
click OK under you're signed in as Jasper? Thank you. That was going to distract me the
Thanks.
whole time. I love
Yeah,
you.
me too. Well, right now you're on top of it, so I didn't even see it. All right. So I'm not trying to belabor the whole conversation. I'm trying to get real tactical. So I do have places to go with this, I promise.
Okay.
Number one, there are 4 different tracks: art, writing, as in drafting, then editing, and then layout. After that, it's basically just a matter of sending off to the printer, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, art. Right now, I'm looking at this. So I've got dates here. This is simply according to the dates that Jameson put into Discord a couple of days ago, which is what over the long weekend that I had, I was just putting all this out because I need to see it in a format that I'm used to doing because like I said, I do it all the time. So I've got just these dates. This is all that's reflected here, right?
Mhm.
Don't worry about that one. No big deal. In other words, that one's going to be all done. No problem. Writing. This column means the past. So effectively, there's been writing for everything already done except for a couple of things. One, the fiction, some of it. I'm talking about like completed. Titan Shard Bunker is another one, and the module book.
Mhm.
I have even characters as a breakdown in here, and those are all done too. Editing. This is where things get super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way you said fun.
Yep. Here's January 26th. Characters and regions will be completely edited, and Jasper should be able to take those. Now, there are some in here already able. I've already got a head start because we've
Right.
gotten some in. But that's when when it's like, oh, January 26th, regions, Val, put your pencil down, never look at it again. Otherwise, we're fucked, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Same thing. Fiction, Titan Shard Bunker. We've got Welcome to Alara, Life on Alara, Character Career. All that stuff is good. Now we're getting over here into, as you'll see, basically Valentine's Day for everything to have been completely edited.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now that's the 15th of February. You're looking to print deliver on the 27th of February. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. So a week and a half for lots of things. I'll get into that list in a couple of minutes. This is reality talking, not Jasper. You can hate reality.
Mm-hmm.
Jasper too. Like I don't.
That's
know.
fine. You're welcome to hate me.
No,
I'm
no.
really, and I'm just. This is a reality check on everything.
No, please. Yes.
Layout. Now again, the dates are less important specifically because I know Jameson was like, here's a plan, but I don't know exactly. So it's not about Jameson. It's not about your dates. It's about just the cadence of these things. Check it out. So by the time that editing, or that's with module.
Yeah.
Yeah, with module, editing done, I have 4 days to finish the layout.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 days
Mhm.
to shop this around with whoever you want to and get everybody to edit everything and find all the misplaced periods to make sure that there's not a weird line that got broken and is on another page, and then it gets sent to the printer. I'm telling you right now, you can do that, and then you're going to be bitching after that about all the mistakes that we didn't catch and that everybody sees in their printed book.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I'm very concerned about it, not because I don't think it's possible. I just think you're not going to get the best product.
right. And for us to come all this way
Right.
and to have that, and we did
Yeah.
just adjust timelines this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
So with all that in mind, what I'm suggesting here is editing is going to be done. Module book has been added in. We'll talk about that, Bree. I know you said
Yeah.
you're going to take stuff on. Hang on to that. I know that's a potential, but let me tell you the pitfalls, the pros and cons of this types of things. Layout is going to be tight. All of this is doable. That's the good news. The bad news, and there is bad news, is that this isn't my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have been working on this all the time. I can do this whenever I can do this, but what's happening is everything's getting bunched into the layout, which can be done in a chunk of time, but it's going to be hard to be in a chunk of time when it's coming in piecemeal for me. So if I had everything today, like whatever today, I don't even know what today is, 21st of January, and you're like, you have 1 month to lay out this book and for us to edit it and make sure that it's completely taken care of before it goes to the printer, I'd say, sounds good. Like, I can do that. I'll make the time to do that. Anna and my kids, I'll see them in a month. You know, no big deal. I can do it. But I can't quit my job. And there's other things that have to happen anyway. For example, and you can tell me how, number one, how wrong you think I am, or how you think you want to be able to fix it, or how we can manage it. And so I'm giving you the worst case right now. And then we'll figure out how to mitigate everything. Yep. Print deliver, like I said, is 4 days after layout is done, which means, importantly, layout's done, you're editing it, I don't have any time to make the revisions. So that's just obvious thing number one. Unless I quit my job or I take a vacation or something like that, which, you know, both are plausible.
Don't quit your
but
job.
not great. Now, I'm sorry if this is coming across as me loving. I've had a rough week with all sorts of client stuff and whatever, so I'm probably being like a creative director dude right now.
And here's just to kind of put your mind at ease, we're all stressed, and I think we've all kind of snapped at each other at one point or another, and this is almost your version of snapping, which is just
maybe. I mean, I'm not snapping at you.
Slightly
I really am not
with
snapping at you.
Apologies every other sentence.
Yeah.
Stop apologizing. It's okay.
Well, like I said, this is just reality check, and right now I'm putting my creative director hat on, and creative director not for the book because I know I'm not creatively directing that, but at the same time, whatever producer type role and layout type design person, I am putting that hat on. So it's not about Jasper and everybody on the team. It's really about the
hit
book.
us, dude.
So
Hit us.
Here we go. Boom. Concerns.
Oh, I was hoping there was none of those because it was blank.
Right. This is something that, before you read them all,
Too late. No.
you've already taken a screenshot and now you're. So, how do I put this? I'm trying to think of where do I start. I know the module book. The module book threw me for a loop because it's sort of like, yeah, I can do that. Absolutely can do that. No, that was something that you had said that you were going to do. But yeah, I can do that. Right. But I did not know it was within this timeline. So this timeline is already fucked. But wait. Forget about the Bree stuff. I'm talking like a week and a half ago when we talked about it. I didn't realize that this module book was meant to be, because I just haven't been part of those conversations at all. I didn't know that this was like print delivery same day on these things. That's two different people doing this. And so, Bree, thank you for offering to do that stuff. Yeah. My concern about that is, yes, you'll probably be able to figure it out, but the stuff that I've learned putting this layout for this book together means I will be able to do it super fast.
Right.
But I won't be able to do it by this.
You won't be able to do it by this. And also something that basically all the different modules are being done at different times. I'm working with people. Some people are right on the ball and responding to me the day of. Some people don't get back to me for a week. So there are going to be modules that are basically finished that, by the way, they don't need to go through Jameson at all. They only need to be approved by the people who wrote them.
That's good news. That's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news.
And I don't even think they really need to go through editing of Susan and Val, just because it's a side book.
Yeah, that's great news. I mean, although it'd be great for editing to be able to take place.
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot on that. Let me get to how that cascades into what I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. But great. And number one, I do appreciate it. I do think you can do it. I don't think you're incapable. I think you have the skills to do it. But you are going to have some ramp up time. And I'm just letting you know, like, I would have stuff to be able to use to be able to do it. But the issue is going to be, I don't know. Where are we going to lose the time?
You have other stuff to do, whereas I don't have other stuff to do. So I feel like taking a hit to like how fast it can be done is worth it, as long as when it's finished, it looks fine. It looks okay.
No, I'm with you. And maybe we can work out something where you put it all together and then I can pass it over to me and I can like clean something up or figure something out or whatever, or help, or basically I don't want to leave you hanging. All right, let's go down my list of concerns. Module layout does not equal module book layout. By that, what I mean is you're talking about these modules, but you haven't laid out a book. And a book is more than just those layouts for the modules. So
Right.
there's more to think about for it. So there's stuff on top of the modules, like what's the table of contents, what's the first page, what's the whatever going to be, not just the cover and the layout and the modules themselves, but there's laying out of the book, and that's something that you'll have to take on and think about. So that's just more time on your end. Yeah, I already mentioned a lot of. This is just my random stream of consciousness version.
Right.
I love Jason Massey's body language right now. 4 days for module book layout.
I'm letting it wash over me. Like hit me.
4 days for module book layout after edits are complete. That's what I have.
Yeah.
1 week to finalize book layout for flight after final edit. I already talked about that. Hard dates for edits finals. I was just my comment here is the edit dates have to be final. Like you can't have like, oh, I wanted to change something. Yeah, no additional editing after edit's complete is the only way. Module book is layered on top of that. No upfront. Yeah. So one thing I noticed is this. Who's working on the SRD, the colophon, the table of contents? What other upfront stuff in a book that you need that isn't just these chapters? It's fine that we haven't thought about it because it's not that difficult, but it's not even part of this timeline.
Right.
All right, so that's just something to consider.
Personally, I thought the SRD was something we just had to copy and paste into the front of the book. I didn't think we had to work on it.
That might be totally fine. Table of contents, probably not that big of a deal. I'm just saying it's something to be, all of this needs to be thought about. Once again, it's sort of like module layout. Is it module book? It's like, what else needs to go in the book?
What is a colophon?
Colophon is what, it's like, who wrote it, who are the illustrators, I know we talked about that kind of stuff, but it's like it's this thing when you open up the newspaper and it's like the masthead. It's like, here's the logo, here's the editor-in-chief, here's all the people who wrote stuff and that kind of thing. There are small versions of it, there are big versions of it.
Gotcha.
That's my point, was just like random shit.
No, you're right.
Okay. There is, where am I? Area timeline is additional effort. Yes, I can put a timeline in there, but it is additional effort. So it's not, I got the timeline, can you throw it in the book? Well, yeah, I mean, we can throw it in the book as a column of text, but, I got to put some time into this. So that's just something that's not accounted for in here. No timeline in here for that trivia, the handwriting stuff that we might want to do. There's no timeline for that to be made and put in together. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of these add days and days and days. Simply, these things haven't been considered yet.
We just need to decide dates for them.
And importantly, when it comes to these trivia and handwriting things, this is something that is actually meant to help fill in some of those blank gaps that end up being in some of those pages. So until it's all laid out, we won't know how big something needs to be, right? So that's kind of one of those things that it's dependent upon the layout. Not the fact that they exist, but the fact that where are they going to go and how big, should it be a big letter written and it's half of a page, or is it a little tiny scribbled note? That's something we got to figure out.
And the other part of that is no one's been assigned either. No one knows who to do. So
you're right. Well, and that can't be done until we start. I mean, we can start thinking about it, but it's its own little tiny project.
Right. Valerie's
so I'm giving you all the bad
all
news.
Of them, but
I'm giving you all the bad news, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Just hang on. We'll come out of the big deep hole of the abyss that I'm making in a minute. No timeline for module book review by others, but you already mentioned that. No timeline for layout revisions after final book reviews. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Because that could be nothing. That could also mean shit. We just realized that X, Y, and Z, that's going to do a big thing across all of your files. We don't know what that might be, right? Hopefully not, but we don't know what that's going to be. To that point, there's no padding for any printer issues or layout complications, right? So it's like, oh shit, there's this thing. It's going to mean that the printer says, oh, we can't take it like that. You have to put X, Y, and Z in there. We're like, fuck, we didn't realize that. Even though I know what I'm doing, I might not know everything, and neither do you. So there's just no padding in that or for any issues. There's no forgiveness. Module of parallel check should mean 2 people. There's no timeline for those interstitial images or sketches. And by that, I'm talking about all the stuff that does go into those gaps. I think we have some kids coming in.
Yay, we need them.
Oh, I thought it was a kid. Oh, yeah, is it too loud? Oh, yeah, Anna says it's too loud, so I gotta go.
Yeah, stop yelling at us.
All right. I can't. This is important. I have to yell at you.
So he's gonna find somewhere to yell at us.
Good, he's gonna find someplace soundproof.
They say they need to see kids. Because they're having bad news, so they need to have good news.
Sorry.
Felix, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
See you Hi,
I love you
Felix.
so much.
Yeah.
You're my favorite person.
Okay.
Wow, they're twins.
Where's Liz? What? You're hiding. Here, look at this one. You want to see everybody?
Hi.
Who's
Jasper,
still- Yeah.
one of our first calls together was when they were born. Yeah.
Okay, bye. You want to say bye, Felix? Of
Bye.
course you can say bye.
Bye.
Last time.
Head nod.
Say bye. You did. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
No, you hang up.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I have a question.
Yep.
Uh,
Yes, I have a solution.
I need to see the screen to remember the thing that I didn't understand. What does module as parallel track should mean two people ideally mean?
Means two people on layout.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be
okay.
two things happening at the same time, and you've come up with some solution for that. So that is exactly
Okay.
what my point was. So I wrote this down in the coffee shop. I'm like these are my issues that I'm seeing happening.
Yeah.
Interstitial images and sketches. One of the things that we've talked about since the beginning is like, what are those sketches and images and where do they go when there's gaps in the pages and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's its own little track as well. It's like after the layout's done, it's like what images go where and then dropping them in. That's not hard, but we've got to put time in to do it. Recipes are on timeline. That's on me at the moment. That's not going to be hard. I just got to do it. That was just a tiny one. Here's a big one. My work is a variable I can't control or anticipate. I found out a couple days ago that I got to go to Miami this week for 3 days to go to a client workshop. So that takes out some of my time that I might have wanted to put into something else. So that's a problem. I can't control that. And so if in 2 weeks and the deadline's coming up to be able to get layout done, they say, you got to go back down to Brazil because this big project's happening and you're going to be there for the first week. I can get stuff done, hopefully, but
Yeah.
all the read more page 000s are going to take a fuck ton. I think it actually says of time.
I got what it meant already.
Damn it, I was hoping it wasn't time.
Yeah. It would be different if we had been able to set this up long ago and we did this all the time and we had this be an automated process that you can do and make it happen in InDesign and that kind of thing. This is going to be a manual process. We're going to have to take the final version of layout.
Yeah, fuck.
And then somebody's going to have to go to each of those read mores and make sure it's on the right page. Because if something got moved, that's going to screw something up.
Now remember, I do have a spreadsheet of everything of where it is, and there's basically a master list that we can just go through, fill it all out, and
perfect.
then we still though have to go through it again and fill them all in. Like it's something that I think will not be too difficult from the way I've set it up. It's just going to take time.
And it's going to be the absolute last step because we can't make any changes after we put that in.
That's the thing. It's going to take.
You turn us down.
What's that?
I saw you turn us down.
I did because Anna walked in and went, shh.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm being loud. Where is it? Read mores. It's going to be the kind of thing that it's not like finding that extra period in a paragraph or extra space in a thing. It's got to be right. And it's going to, and I'm so thankful that Valerie, that you've already got all of that in a thing so that we can use it as our checklist. But it's going to mean that at least 2 people do it separately so that we can get it all right. And then I have to go in and I have to manually put them in throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was there's no way we're ever doing an index for this. Just
I
making
think we
sure.
all gave up on
Yeah,
that.
no. I think last time you weren't here, but we talked to Valerie and she was like, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, even
No,
Valerie
there's no
would
way.
go. It's like, it's
No,
not.
there's no way.
And we all
I
knew
still
it
think
was
it's a
dead.
good idea to put it on the website though.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think that would
totally.
be fun later.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
And I don't know about this stuff. This won't necessarily relate to the layout or anything, but it does. It actually does to some degree. But things like the ISBN, the barcode, and whatever book stuff, not just from a layout point of view, but like that stuff has to be thought about, and then I need that stuff so I can put it on the book.
We already know what we're gonna do. We're just gonna purchase 3, because apparently there's a group pricing for that kind of thing, and we can just use the other ones for future books and things like that. So as soon as you need it, we could just buy it. It's an instant thing.
Yeah, it's got to be added to the art and stuff like that.
So,
you'll see down here that I have a hidden sheet called Reasonable Plan.
That's why you're trying to get us to shut up about solutions. All right.
Yep.
I had a feeling this was coming.
Here's your reasonable plan. I'm going to come down to 100%.
Ooh.
I'm not joking.
Okay.
I'm not joking. Here's what I see needed for this project. And we can talk about it and manage it however you want to do it. That's fine. 4 additional weeks before sending to the printer. And here's why. 2 weeks of finalizing the layout once everything is done and all of the stuff in this concerns box is taken care of, including read mores. That's 2 weeks. And remember, it's because it's not my full-time job. It's because I have a few hours, maybe a night to do it. Maybe if Anna says, fine, I'll take them for the weekend and you don't have to go to the park. Anna just said yes, definitely. No, she didn't. She didn't. That's 2 weeks. 1 week for me to, at the end of those 2 weeks, to hand it to you, and 1 week to edit, go through, print it out, put Sharpies on all the pages, whatever you want to do to get it right. And then I need another week to be able to do those revisions before it gets sent to the printer, and make sure, because it's not just finishing the edit and then the printer's on the phone and I just like hand it to them or something. I have to I have to prep it for printing. Like it has to be, it's its own little process. So once it all is done, I have to make sure that everything's in the right place, that all the edits are done. Yes, but then I have to put it into flight is what it's called, and putting it into the printer. The one good news about that, if there's any good news, layout of final section. So here's week number 1, something like, it's not exactly right, but let's say week 1, layout of final sections, week 1 and finalize layout. There we go. Sorry. Here's our last 4 weeks. Week 1 and 2, finalize layout, revise any issues, ensure book layout is correct, identify gaps and determine fillers. Handwritten notes are done and inserted depending on layout finalization. So this is the time to do that. Week 3, output it as a PDF, send to all involved for review and comments, scour the pages for any errors in layout, mechanical, not content, right? I mean, if you find content, that's great, but it's all about looking for those misplaced spaces, and there's a double word in here, and you copied that paragraph twice. Also find any weird content issues. So if there's anything, that's going to reflect in the layout, right? So if it's like, oh shit, you forgot a whole section here, Jason, you asshole, Jasper, you asshole, then yeah, it's my fault, but I got to deal with it. Week 4, all feedback is collected and revisions are made, packaging up layout for printer. This does not accommodate for any unforeseen issues.
Okay.
Now, here's the good news. That gives me this time while you are editing, I can do that module stuff.
I don't want you to have to do the module. All right, before...
But that doesn't hurt me. Otherwise, I'm waiting on you.
I would like to say, I think we have been recording this the whole time, and I feel like regardless of what decisions we made, I think that this might be a good video to post so that people understand why we made it. Jason, what are you thinking?
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Before I go any further, where's that put us for a final date?
Do. 4 weeks, end of March.
So we'd probably get the book late April instead of early April, which means that folks would end up getting it May instead of April.
Now, before you say anything else, I have an important question that I ask all of my clients at the very beginning of projects, and unfortunately we're well into it. What is the reasoning behind your deadline?
Well, that's when we promised it, and at the time, April was considered very doable. And
when was that made?
During the Kickstarter.
So April.
And here's the thing. I know.
When was the Kickstarter?
That was in April.
April. Yeah, we had
So a year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago, a deadline was made.
Right.
Yes.
Not knowing a lot of stuff.
Yes. I have a real hang up about being a Kickstarter that promises one thing and doesn't deliver. I have a real hang up about it. But if it's by a couple of weeks, I don't think that's going to insult a bunch of people. So. And the bottom line is that it's for a better product. Now, frankly, we're at a portion of the project where money isn't the commodity we're bartering with, it's time.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not about money, and it's not about additional resources. And I was saying this earlier. It's just remember, 9 women can't have a baby in a month, right? So it's not about adding new people.
That is
because that's going to slow it down.
Saying.
I've never heard that.
That's fair. All right.
It's an exaggeration, certainly, but what it does mean, the point is, we come across this all the time. It's like, well, listen, we have to hit this deadline. Can we throw more designers on it? It's actually, it'll slow you down.
Right.
Yeah, because you have to train them and everything.
And we're not trying to make Fallout 76 here. We're not like that.
Yeah.
Jameson, you've been really quiet. What are you thinking?
Sorry, partly because of crying babies and barking dogs.
For a second, I
don't call them
like,
that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Jameson, come on. They're just being real about this. Come on.
Barking babies and crying dogs. I think I've been dreading this conversation for months.
I know.
I think that after the last time we talked about this around October, and we decided that we're going to continue to shoot for April, despite signs that were starting to appear. And I think everybody continued to work with the intention of completing it in April. I've been concerned kind of since then that it might not line up. And my main concern up to that point has been trying to make it work, because I didn't want to get to a point where we could have this conversation. But it feels like the last 6 months have been kind of trying to cram 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag as far as the workload compared to the manpower and the deadline. I would 100 times prefer to push back a month if the book is going to be right, than insist it stay where it is and have a book that at this point, based on what we're seeing, wouldn't even have mistakes in it. It would be incomplete.
Yeah. And look, I know I can be difficult when it comes to something like this, and
timelines are scary with you, because you have that thinking of like, well, we're gonna put it off by a week. Why don't we just put it off by 6 years?
Well,
and it's like, because we need a week.
And I am firmly of the belief that because we shot for April, this is why we're so close. Because
I think so too.
Yeah. There's been an immense amount of work put together in a very, very, very short time. That is, from everything I'm reading, incredibly quality work. I want this book, right?
Like, I'm glad
it comes down to, I mean, it's definitely, it's been a sprint. It comes down to, how do you put all of that content into something and make it right, so that people will say, oh man, that's amazing. Like, hey, there's even other books coming out that have big, huge campaigns put into them, and this stands up with that kind of stuff. And I want that to be what's been spoken about, rather than, I mean, look, they didn't even get the stuff right.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think that, so I don't want to be an ogre about it, because Jameson, you and I had a conversation in private where we were talking, not like a conversation in private, but like we were bouncing ideas back and forth, and it's
private
like,
messages. It's, everyone knows.
Yeah,
those exist. I love you. I'm trying to make things lighter. I'm trying to joke.
Right.
I'm like a court jester. You mock the queen because you can.
So I've already said, it's like, look, would 2 extra weeks help? Would and you were the one who, like, you want to make this work, and I appreciate that. I think we're in a situation where essentially we've been working all day on Thanksgiving dinner. If we come out and throw it onto the floor, Yeah, all the content's there. But...
Yeah, exactly. Did Val get Blair Witched?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I assumed she was sobbing.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Val?
I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Are you fine?
Tell me.
Come on.
This is the time for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to so the past like week or I guess few days when we've been once Jameson came out with the timeline, right? And then actually Jameson, I did go through and sort of look at the other pieces and estimate sort of how long they would take. At least from my end. I can't go through it on that timeline that we have right now.
Okay.
I think we're gonna get, our A through E NPCs done today. But the time that I've had and that I've been spending on to do that, whew, man, okay. I haven't done any homework. I have not touched anything.
Yeah.
And I can't do that because I have stuff to. And
okay.
Listen.
Yes. Yeah.
Two things. One, be honest with us.
Right.
Tell us that kind of stuff. And two, you have two people who want...
We are begging you to just give us that information so that we can do what you've been doing.
You gotta trust the people you work with.
And I need you to trust me so that I can take some of this off of your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Susan can do some of the work that you are doing.
Yes.
And I know it sucks, but if you could go through and just kind of okay, this is good, instead of the minute details you are doing right now, because Susan and I can do that.
And here's the thing.
We'd love to take that off your shoulders.
All of us have strengths. And your OCD level, attention to detail, is fantastic. But you have a full-time school workload and this book. Stop it.
Yeah.
You gotta take a step back. We got through regions. That's fantastic. We're getting through characters.
Yeah.
Lean on other people.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. And I could really start taking on more of the stuff that you're doing because I'm already in there. If you just give me those lists or documents you're working off of.
Right.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Val, I don't know what you planned on how you put things together and just sort of doing an estimate around anything at all. If what this does, the way that I put this quick, and this is quick and dirty, but this quick plan together, it basically means for me that if editing is done by the middle or late middle of next month, there's still plenty of time for me to lay out those sections. So my point is, I don't know if that changes any of the panic of this, or not the panic, but the reality of this.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that I don't care if characters are done until the 20th of February.
So that gives us 2 extra weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
I couldn't
so
care about,
so a big part of this, and I apologize for the undue stress I put on you, Val, with that schedule. My thought, the way I approach things is if I break it into smaller chunks and have like a time that each of those chunks is due, for me, that makes things easier because I'm like, all right, well, if I can get A through E done by this day, then that's on to the next
I'm
step.
sure she's doing that.
But what I didn't understand, and Jasper and I had a brief conversation about this on Saturday after I posted the initial thing. What I didn't understand is what that looks like from Jasper's perspective. My thought was that getting things in chunks would actually help. And what I've since learned is, no, that doesn't help. It makes things take longer. So I made 2 big mistakes I made a bunch of mistakes with that timeline. One of which being that to stagger things out like that might make things easier, and I don't think it does. I think it makes things more difficult. If it makes things easier for Val to be like, okay, it all needs to be done by this deadline, then that's fine. And if you look at that final deadline, Val, and you need a little bit more time, then we can talk about that. But I do think that you're going to have to give up a little bit of control because you have too much else to do.
And see, here's the thing, Val. I changed my schedule to work on this book more. I've blocked off all Sundays and I've blocked off all Wednesdays. I have all those days, like the whole day to work on the book now.
Yeah,
and
because
then
she doesn't have homework to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I have mornings and I have my afternoons.
And Val,
so if you give me your lists and your documents, I know that you want to check everything, but if it's wrong at the end of the day, then it's not on you. Then it's on me or Bree.
Yeah, it's on all of us.
It's on all of us, no matter what is wrong with the book. Like if it turns out,
it built into place where mistakes are going to get caught before before publication.
And if we have a longer stretch of time where we can hand this finished product or nearly finished product over to a bunch of people, at the very least the cast, they are going to take a look at this and they're going to find stuff. And fantastic. If there's anybody in this call who gets the control freak thing, I get it. You gotta lean on other people.
Yeah.
And you gotta be honest about what's too much, dude.
So Val, I know we're all giving you a big pep talk, and that's probably not what you need.
Oh, I was talking down to her. Are we pep talking? Okay, sorry.
You complete. No, my question is, what change to this do you actually feel like you need in order to make you be able to do what you feel is necessary? So I know I put a project plan together because that's how I think, and I'm certainly not asking you to do it, but what do you need in order to make what you need to get done? And I don't mean on a deadline. I mean, what do you need? Another 6 months to do it? Do you need another whatever? What makes sense within your world? With this is not your priority. Your priority is school, period. And eating and breathing and being a person.
Sleeping?
Just throw it out. I don't mean that there's a right answer, not that we're going to do it all completely. We're not changing everything. Just what do you need? Forget everybody else. What is it that you feel would be required for you to be able to make things happen and make this the best book from your point of view?
Without an index. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Wait,
I was trying to make a joke. I was making a dumb joke. I said without an index.
Yeah.
It was a stupid joke.
No, if we got an index, that would fix all of my problems. Don't you understand?
Now
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, like, there are a few sections that currently in our timeline we have as, like, in 3 or 4 days or something. And it's not going to happen.
Super tight. I noticed that. I think it's to provide room for a lot of other chapters that maybe don't need that much.
Right.
Well, no. Actually, I think the characters is pretty okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because the characters seem to be what's killing you right now. So that's the only reason I thought that.
Well, it is.
That's today.
But I noticed that other things are going to kill me a lot harder.
Like?
Well, if you're not doing homework, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Flat out.
The Life on Alara section. I was looking at that, and let me actually start, like, looking at things.
Yeah, check it out.
The Life on Alara section, I think we only have, like, 3 or 4 days to do.
The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February.
And it's 9 seconds.
And they're long, and they're detailed.
So, how about, do you think you could make a list of, like, the 4 chapters you're scared of most? And I don't want to put it that way, but you know what I mean? Like, the 4 ones that you're looking at and, like, that's not enough time. And you could post that in the Discord server, and we could try to readjust the schedule to add more time to those chapters. And it could be 5, it could be, you know, whatever. But, like, which, like,
all
if you could
8
put
of them.
Like, if you could put them in priority of, like, this one I think is going to take the most time, and this one's going to take the least time, or something like that. And then working from that, I think we can make a timeline that works better for everybody.
Okay.
Don't put it on Val. I'm just realizing. Let's not ask Val to do more work to figure out what she needs to do.
I can do it.
I'm sorry, but
all right.
I can do it. I have tomorrow off. I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. the only reason
No,
I said
I'm
it
not-
that way was because Val's the one.
Val's, it's
who knows
affecting
what's
Val. So
affecting
like,
her.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I totally understand. I was just thinking, you know what? That was just my first quick thought was, hey, you know what?
Hi, baby.
Hey, look at that little baby. Hey, little baby.
So, Val, I'll put together a list tomorrow of things that I think will take the longest, and then you could weigh in afterwards.
Okay. I just know off the top of my head, the Life on Alara, and then also the Jasper, if you could pull up.
Yeah, you see it?
all the sections again. Oh, right there, duh.
Life on Alara.
And the classes have the endurance in it, and that's really long. It's, I think, 27 pages. And while it's not all like full walls of text, it's still 27 pages.
I think I trimmed it back to 26.
Great.
Now we're going to hit the deadline.
The bestiary is, again, they're kind of longish. Now, the good thing about these is there shouldn't really be anything that has like
Cross-referencing.
double checking, and I can just go through it
They're
and read
very
it. Like
self-contained.
with the characters, what I've found is my first run through of it takes the longest because that's when I'm going through and looking at every other place in the book that it's mentioned and making sure everything lines up. After that, after I know everything lines up, I'm able to just read it. And I don't have to keep going back and looking at other stuff. So it cuts my time working on it in like a quarter, truly.
Right.
That the mechanics, there's just a lot of pieces there. And
That's
again, it shouldn't have like tons of things, but like it's just, there's a lot of it.
Okay. Bree and Susan already offered to jump in for stuff. Is there something I could be doing? Because these are more the heavy lifting stuff, like endurance classes, stuff like that. It's all a lot of it's all mechanic stuff. It's all like rules stuff. Is there something I could be doing to help with that? Besides just basic editing that I'm usually, tagged in for.
Well, one thought that I had, and let me know if this is stupid, Val, but while you're working on characters for your first pass, the real meticulous cross-referencing, double-checking pass, which I think we need, I don't want to get rid of that for any chapter. Would it be beneficial to share your methodology with Bree and Susan to do that with other chapters, so that when you get to them, you're basically just checking their work?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that can go a lot faster at that point. And they can then switch to characters and do a pass over what you've already done, kind of the way we're already doing it. But let's have them start at chapter 1 while you're doing characters right now,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this issue is the biggest in characters, and it's not really going to be a thing in any of the other sections.
The
But it's
timeline
good
is
for
going
them
to be
to
an
have
issue.
that, like
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
tag in and
I'm just thinking like overall time saving, because I understand that you feel compelled to do this for every word in the book, and and again, I think we need that, but I think that if we're not going to blow this timeline out completely to 2 months, then I think that we're going to have to find a way to cut some corners. And I think that having them start your process in other chapters so that you can then check it instead of starting from scratch will save us time in the end.
Right. Now, my process is actually very, very different now. Honestly, with these characters, I haven't really been like writing down every time a word is mentioned, because I realized that we're going to have a final PDF of the book, and that stuff that I'm doing is mostly for indexing anyway. It's come in handy a few times when we've changed the spelling of something, and I know exactly where it is that I have to go back and change the spelling of. But the second reason I started making this was for indexing purposes. And because that's not as much of an issue anymore, and by the time we're working on the index, the book is already done, and we can just Control F. And once I realized that was very helpful, that I didn't have to write everything down every time.
Right.
It's also worth noting that if you go to Google Docs and search for a word, every document you have that has that word in it comes up.
Yeah.
That's
how I have been doing that. It's a little funky because sometimes the words aren't in there. But
the good news also, really quick, just an interjection. Once the layout is all, we have a book in PDF form. We can do a find and replace throughout that entire, not find and replace, sorry. We can do a find in that PDF and find every version of whatever we need to be able to find. And then all I have to do is just flag it and what page it is. And then I can go change it quickly. So we'll have one big document that we can find in.
Exactly.
That'll
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just for the most part, any new thing that I'm adding is something that I feel like could possibly come up later. Like mostly like if we're capitalizing a word or not, I want to mark that down just so I know for later if I come across that again. For example, yarrow. Right now we've been capitalizing it, and I think we should because it's a synthesized drug, which to me makes it more of like a brand name type thing.
Yeah, no, of course.
But like
now we got to get the yarrow T-shirt with the
yes.
Ask your doctor if yarrow is
like in a Coca-Cola font.
Yeah.
So for example, the orb of light. That's talked about in a little handwriting thing in Aubrey. Are we having to change the name of that?
Probably.
And that's why I wrote it down. So we know.
I think it was changed in one of the chapters.
Yeah, I think it was. It was something, but.
Yeah, because I feel like when I was going through and I was looking at like objects, or I had to go in there for something else, I maybe like didn't see the orb of light, or I saw something that like sounded like it, but it was a different name, and I was like, oh, I should put this down.
Anything that was ever in a book, it's getting ditched.
Yeah, so like things like that, I'll still take note of because I want to know where it is in case we do have to change it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not like adding new things.
Okay.
Would it save time, or would it just take longer to do, like, I hate to even suggest this, but maybe it'll help, a second weekly meeting during this bulk of this editing process for just the editors to sit down and grind stuff out while in a call? Would that help, or would that slow this all down? And that's for everybody. That's, whatever, everybody who's in part of the editing process. Thanks. Because like the back and forth notes is really good, but if everybody's in a call, would it be faster is my question,
I think at this point, I think maybe earlier on it would have been helpful.
Okay.
But at this point, no, because like I'll go a week and I have like for example, I asked I think 2 questions, and those were my 2 like editorial notes for.
And I'm trying to get to them as fast as possible if I'm
tagged. So it seems, at least on my end, from the things I'm looking for and I'm asking, it wouldn't be worth it to ask in a call.
Okay.
Because
fine.
They are smaller details at this point.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find ways to alleviate pressure where we can, because I don't want there to be a point, at least until the last month when Jasper takes it, where all of this is on one person's shoulders.
Yeah.
So if there's any way to reduce that, then let us know, and we'll because here's the thing, mostly at this point I'm concerned about finishing the art, and any last, like, editing fiction and any last little bits and bobs, and then other than that I'm just keeping an eye on the clock, so if there's anything I can step in on, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Anna just told me something in the background, and she's going to tell you again. I'm putting her on the spot.
I was just saying that you guys are amazing. Like, you are the kindest, most respectful. You're so good at listening to each other. I've rarely seen a team who works and is able to solve conflicts like that. So well done.
She's been listening in the background, so she couldn't help herself.
Oh, thank you.
How awesome we all are. I mean, really, I get that a lot. But.
So, okay. I see a lot of good things here. I know it doesn't feel like it, but let's focus on those good things.
Yeah, I'll take the blame for bringing the
This is
nuclear
reality.
bomb.
Look,
but I think it's a bomb that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
It's something. This is that blood, sweat, and tears thing that I don't think a lot of larger companies have to deal with. This is a weird in between corporation and hobby type of project where obviously we have money to complete it. Time is harder to find.
Yeah.
And effort. And
we don't have a team of playtesters.
No, we don't have a team of playtesters. We don't have an art pool that we can just go out and it's like, who wants to do this? And like Jameson's had to work very hard to find artists and communicate with them every day. And then we're in a really rough spot now with editing. And if an extra month is going to help us do that, it would be an extra 2 weeks of editing. And Val, you leaning on other people and letting them in on your stuff here, let them kind of come into your territory a bit. That I don't know how it became your territory. It just did. You started building walls and razor wire early on, and just
I don't trust anybody to do anything ever.
Well, that's a real problem.
Yeah, I think that's something we're going to get over together.
Especially in a collaborative environment like a laboratory, where I don't trust anyone to do anything.
Well,
correctly.
okay, this is the good and bad thing of working with friends, right? Like, we've all kind of snipped at each other at one point or another. We all kind of hold back because we don't want to disappoint each other. But the cool thing about working with friends is we should all be understanding enough that, one, if you're in literal tears, you should have said something earlier. Two, we can make it work and push things back. There's not a listener of ours on the planet that's going to go, fuck your tears, give me my book.
And
there's not.
And a month pushback, like I've waited a year for Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm still on a waiting list for like 4 or 5 years. There's lawsuits for some of my Kickstarters.
There was this one Kickstarter I had that the guy that was trying to print had like worked with some really bad printing place.
Oh, I know what you're fucking talking
got my hands
about.
on it.
Octopus print. Yeah.
Yeah, and not one person complained, honestly. I wasn't even doing weekly updates, and not a single person complained. I had about an eighth of the backers, but still, like, people are understanding, especially where we post practically weekly updates in great amount of detail. Like, people know exactly what we know at the end of each meeting.
They know.
So
they know what we're doing.
I don't.
Sorry.
Hi.
I just have one thing I need to add. As a Kickstarter supporter, I've supported many a project on Kickstarter. It's rare that they're on time, and as you say, if it's for a good product, people are so happy to support it and wait. Like, as long as you're very direct and very clear and very honest, and also you guys have done every single thing in your power to keep it on track, and it's just difficulties, logistical stuff. It happens. I mean, you guys are good. Trust me. And all you need to do is continue to communicate the way you are. Just stay clear, but you're good, okay?
What Anna doesn't know is that these are recorded and put up for everybody to watch.
Really? Yes. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, these are the Kickstarter updates. Hi, Kickstarter people.
You guys are so transparent. You're killing me here.
It's killing us
too.
too.
Do a seminar in my company. Just show people how to work, because this is incredible. I'm not joking.
Well,
that's our next Kickstarter book.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and what I'm trying to get at is we are honest with our people, and these meetings aren't always easy to do. Case in point, what Jasper did to us all. That's not always easy.
I've been stressing about it for the past couple of days. I mean, I felt bad. I'm not stressing out. I've been feeling super bad.
I've been stressed.
I've been stressed about it. She said
we're all, and here's the thing: we're all stressed, and I think it would be better. I'd rather live with reality than in delusion. And if the 21st or 2nd or 5th, 6th, whatever it was that we eventually push this back to comes, and we don't have a book, I'd rather know that now. And if we look, let's say we have a final PDF that we were looking at in February, and it's shit, and we all look at each other, and we know, but none of us wants to say anything because it's like, we all work so hard. Let's give this to people. We don't want to do that.
Nope.
We've spent tens of thousands of dollars, shaved years off of our lives, pushed our friendships to the breaking point. Let's just give people a good book. That's all.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my thing is, you can't point to any single person in this call who hasn't done every amount of work that they can. Like, everybody here has worked as hard as they could.
This isn't about issues coming up and causing delays. This is about simply the estimate for the deadline just needed to be actually refined. That's all it is, because it's not about nobody working and taking too long to do something. That's not the issue.
I'm going to go ahead and take that and toss it on the big old pile of things we've learned during this project that we won't do again. And me just making up a date that it's like, that should be enough time. 1 year. Let's go.
Actually, think about that. A year ago, coming up with a deadline that's only a few weeks off is actually pretty great.
That's actually not bad.
That's fucking not bad. Also, I'm the dumb motherfucker. It's like, hey, let's get it done by DragonCon 2019, guys. We can do it. Let's print it.
That's
we'll
funny.
get it.
That's
and,
actually
all of you should have stopped being my friend then.
I did. I'm still here, but
this is about money.
Yeah, you paid us to be here.
Yeah, I think that when this Dragon Con, when people are holding the book, I think that they're not going to be going, well, it was a month late, so fuck this book. You know?
I don't know a single date of any of the books I own when they came out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
don't know.
I bought them opening night.
Kickstarters.
On my bookshelf in the other room, I have 4 comics that I backed on Kickstarter in the last couple of years. I couldn't tell you how close any of those were to their actual projected delivery dates. I have no idea. I got them. I was like, ooh, book. And that was it. Like,
I've attended midnight releases for books, and I couldn't tell you what year they came out. So
yeah, exactly.
Skyrim's the only thing, and that's not a book.
That's
the
not
only
a
thing
book,
that sticks
you're
out in my
right.
mind.
The actual product is what matters. Yeah. So I think if we set it back by a few weeks and we get the product to be where it needs to be, we're fine. I'm not.
You know what? We'll put up another poll. Everybody who hates us now. By the way, last time I checked, 89% in favor of us doing a different module. So we'll probably be. By the way, we can start the meeting now.
What?
So, no. I'm usually Jameson kicks these off, and he hasn't had a single bullet point. Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, this is kind of really the only thing I wanted to make sure we talked about today, because this is obviously a big conversation to have. And everything else is, I mean, aside from this, I feel really good about where we're at. I mean, I even feel good about this. This is just something I've lost sleep over for the last few days. But
say something, man. Like, okay, why is it okay? Okay, you confuse me somewhat.
Jason, I'm gonna stop you right there. Remember what happened when we started talking about how we probably couldn't get books ready for DragonCon 2019?
I punched a few people, but it
you
wasn't
were
hard.
Very upset.
It was
you were
not
like,
hard.
"Well, we're not even trying, so
no,
what does
okay,
it matter?"
No.
And
look,
it's like, "But we can't." And you were like,
April
"Well, we're not even trying."
April was the hard line for me, and I get like I, but like when I was talking to you, and I was like, "Hey, let's push it back 2 weeks," then I was being legitimate. Like, I wasn't just telling you what I thought you needed to hear.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I was also kind of like already, I thought I had a solution, but the problem is, and the thing that Jasper and I spoke briefly about on Saturday was that I was favoring a solution by overlooking a lot of details, which is that list of 23 concerns that came up. And I was like, hey, maybe we can make this work on this deadline if we actually work Val to death and everything else, you know. But then there's 23 actual items of things that I overlooked or glossed over or completely forgot about. Right. And at that point, like, we cannot do it. Based on that timeline, the editing is too tight, the layout is too tight, and there's shit I just forgot. So,
and that the thing is, if we did do it there's going to be mistakes. Like no matter what we did, if we took 5 months and just reread the book over and over again, there's still going to be a typo, there's still going to be a mistake, and we'll all hate ourselves. But if we allow ourselves 4 days for spelling correction, edits, stuff like that, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Absolutely.
I don't want anybody to point at anything in the book and our excuse is we didn't have time.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The excuse should be, well, we just, we looked and we looked and we looked and that one got by us. But it shouldn't be, well, we didn't have time.
No.
Right.
Because we have the amount of time that we're giving ourselves. Yeah. As long as it's not going to take us 3 years. Because, I mean, here's the other thing, too. I think all of us just want the book to be done because we'd like to have a little bit of our lives back. So I was all about having it done at the end of February, but not if the book's not going to be right, you know?
Yeah.
So. And that's my last thing on it. I think we all
summer
agree.
off, guys, from book stuff.
Yeah,
How about
right?
just a wide open. Let's just run through fields and stuff.
Promise?
Yeah.
That didn't sound very promising.
I mean, you did say last
Yeah-ish.
meeting you want to make another book, another
By
Kickstarter
August.
Yeah, no, I'm
like
gonna.
for Dragon Con.
Wait.
So
Don't give me an answer now. Let the pain heal. Let a few months go by. Then I'll hit you up.
I'm telling you right now, I won't do it.
That's fine. But right
Like,
now,
I can't.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah. There are other ways to make a book.
That's fine. That's fine. There's more
I
than
have
one
to
way to
start
skin a
doing
Val.
research at some point. I have to like study for GREs.
Keep that on hand, please.
Keep that. Yeah. Let's copy that around.
No.
So, well, anyway, like I said, I had to throw a reality bomb, and like Jameson's alluded to a couple times, I saw the timeline. I made this thing at a coffee shop because I said, Anna, can you please take the kids for today? I've got to go work on this thing. I got to get some stuff done. I just took a few minutes to do this thing. I said, Jameson, are you around? I just want to chat real quick about the timeline. And I just said, I'm going to put some stuff together, and I think we need to talk as soon as we can. That was basically it. And he was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think also for the back end of things, while editing is finishing up and the final art is coming in and layout is beginning, Jason and Bree, the main thing that you guys really need to be shifting focus to is logistics at that point, like starting plans for shipping and talking to the printer, like that whole list of stuff that we started talking about. You guys got to register the whatever your name you're going to print this under and do all that. So your focus is moving on at that point. I mean, obviously you can step back and help us if you need to, but you guys are looking on at the next thing, because these books are showing up on your doorstep. Like, you guys got to have fulfillment plans going at that point.
Dude, there's hundreds of dollars in Uline boxes we're purchasing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of shit, because if you want a quick turnaround on fulfillment, that's something you have 100% control over, or like 90% control over, probably.
Yeah.
You're looking at fulfillment behind them right there on that bed.
Yeah. He's gonna be
Pippin?
He's gonna end up packed in a box somehow.
That's
That's your customer support center.
That's what we're
gonna
gonna
ship them to me. Oh.
But yeah, no, I think that's really honestly when this is getting close to completion, that's where you guys' head should be at anyway.
Yeah.
So as one other argument, I guess, against redoing the layout for modules is I really think that you guys' heads should be elsewhere by then. If we have the ability for Jasper to do both, or maybe the two of you can work together on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that I'm not worried about. I think we can either manage it, or I might be ahead enough on certain things that I can start putting those things together, and we'll know that. But I don't want to plan for that now and then get screwed later. I'd rather make sure that we have enough time to do it, and I think if the both of us can work together on it as a possible solution, I think it'll make it okay.
And it's something that it's going to be a little difficult for us because we've been part of the writing portion of this since before this was even a project. So to finally step back, it's like, I guess we got to start preparing. Like
the training wheels are off, man. We're riding. You guys got to worry about the next thing. You know, you got to.
Oh, that thing I said to Val. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously you'll be involved in it, but not the way you were for the last 2 weeks of December. You know.
Right. And what we do want to do is have people up from LA at the very least, but anybody who wants to visit after the book is in our hands, we want to have a big old weekend party where probably Saturday we're packing and labeling, and then Sunday it's drinking.
Can I go to the party? Can I fly to the party at Jason and Bree's? It's my money, man. That's a yes.
Good. You're being paid if you show up. Yeah.
What?
No, well, because it's not for the party. That's weird.
Are you paying for our friendship now?
I've been trying. No. No. I mean for the day of packing, because that's work.
Oh.
We budgeted for it. Shut up.
Well, depending on when it is, because obviously it's not happening for my spring break in the beginning of March, but I think like 2 weeks.
Whose fault's that, Val? No.
I have like 2 weeks, I think, in between when spring classes end and summer classes start. That would be the beginning of May. I don't know how that works out on the timeline.
I have no idea.
Well, we don't know. I mean, this is a date now that we can send to the printer and be like, if we get you the file on this day, what's your estimate for when books, arrive? And they might be able to give you that date, and we can. I mean, it's not guaranteed, obviously, because we all know things happen with printers. But
we're working with pros, and they have been crazy. That wasn't a dig at you.
No, I know. But even with the most reliable printers, things still happen in shipping. That's out of their hands at that point.
They're coming from Shenzhen, China, so
exactly.
It's
so
a
who
bit
knows?
of a boat ride.
They can give you a ballpark. They can be like, all right, well, if the file comes to us on this date, you can probably expect the books in this window here, and then we can start planning. But that's the type of stuff we can start to think about now because we have a date that I think we all agree is reasonable. So. Anyway, that's it. That was my whole thing.
Go team.
No, I hate. I know it sounds super deflating, this whole conversation, but at the same time, I mean, just think of Val, or think about the fact that I don't have to quit my job to do this.
Dude, think of all of this,
or whatever. Think whatever it is, but this is better for a better product.
I think I still have a wife. I need to check, but I think
I haven't fed her in weeks. So.
Have you at least changed the sawdust in her?
I think there's just an L-shaped skeleton at her desk. I don't know.
L-shaped, yeah.
Okay. How's everybody feeling? I'm just gonna go around this group right here. Jameson, how you feeling? Scale of 1 to 10.
About the book, I'm sitting at about an 8. I feel all right. I mean, considering
about all of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think considering the amount of work and the amount of I don't want to say pressure, but I think everybody's feeling a little bit of pressure. I think that honestly, I'm optimistic. I think the product is going to be good, and that's all I care about at the end of the day. So,
yeah. Susan, how you feeling about all that?
I honestly feel invigorated.
Great.
That's how I feel, like You're having this more time. But I like having deadlines. I like knowing when things are done. Like when you tell me, "Oh, you need to get something done like next week," I'm like, "Fine, on it. Let's do it." Like like when you tell me we have, I don't know, sometime whenever you get to it, I'm like, I want to keep pushing it off and not think about it. And
you must. I'm gonna say something.
No, go ahead.
No, it wasn't fair. I was just making a joke. I was gonna say, oh, you must be half the artists I work with, but that's not true because they've all been very professional. I love all my artists.
Look, 90% of our artists are awesome, and honestly, if anything, it's improved my outlook on artists as a whole.
You did not have a great outlook on.
No, because I kept getting duds. Or people I pay, and then they just turn to dust. They don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. And then we've
had knock on wood. Nobody's ghosted us. Well, one person has ghosted us.
Yeah.
2 people have ghosted us.
I was about to say there's a few $100 missing.
I was gonna say nobody took the money and ran. At least they did some work.
That's fine. Yeah. I
mean, like I said, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
I'm feeling better.
That's good.
That's a start.
Yeah.
Are you feeling like you can share with us if you're starting to get overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Will you promise to prioritize your shit?
But if I
do your goddamn homework.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is being the guy that slows everything down, or the guy
that's gonna end up being
can't do.
No, that was just Jasper. Jasper just pushed his back a month. So
here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is okay. Again, let's pan back. Do you realize what we fucking accomplished in a year? Less than that, because we didn't even get the money until late in May.
Yeah.
That's fucking astounding. Like, not to mention any other companies or whatever, but yeah, there's stuff we've learned. Like, hey, why don't other companies put 270 NPCs in a book? Oh, yeah. That's probably why. But we're doing
they worked
it.
3 years on that.
Yeah, we're doing it. And This is as bad as it'll ever be. Any project we do work on, anytime in the future, will never be this big again. Ever, ever, ever. Not only have we learned so much from what we've done in this last year, working with each other, what our limits are, because I've been the guy who's slowed us down from time to time. Bree has slowed us down from time. All of us have done it. All of us. Because at one point or another, we're each the choke point. And you can only work as fast as you... This is 2 full-time jobs for pretty much all of us. Like, even me and Bree, we have a job. This is technically extra.
You have a show and podcast and game that this book is about. Right? So it's like, don't forget that's like the thing. You know?
So
the book is on top of that. Yeah.
We've all done it. And I think we should absolutely all be proud of what we've accomplished up until now. And none of our work is disappearing. We're just pushing it back a few weeks. And I think it's all going to look so much better because of that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very happy to be not that there needs to be blame or bad guy. I'm exaggerating, but I'm happy for the reason behind all of this is because of the layout and editing of the layout when it's finalized. That's something that we couldn't have anticipated, because when this was all considered at the very beginning, nobody knew, right? Mm-hmm. But at this point, it really comes down to what I'm able to do and get into your hands and then get back from you. So this really comes down to layout and finalization of the book itself, not of the content. So it really does fall in my court, but that's just how it goes. I'm okay with that. Bree, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
That was too simple of an answer.
You
I need a small monologue.
Poker face.
I need medication. I don't want to cry on camera.
Why not? Join in.
Hi. How are you?
I've been silently crying for a while.
I know. That's why I'm sitting here like patting your knee. It's fine. Seriously. Mm-hmm. It's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Would help if I cried, because I'm Look, I do think that...
sorry. Anna actually was over there, and Val, whenever you explained your stuff going on, and Anna's on the couch, and she caught wind of it, and she started crying. So everybody's crying. Everybody's crying.
Good Lord. Look, it's a few weeks. We're going to be fine. Everyone's going to be fine. Seriously. Okay, you know what? How about this? I don't usually ask for stuff like this, but let's say you're out there watching, and let's say you've sat through this hour and a half, and you got this update. What are you guys thinking? Like, because we're guessing based on Kickstarters we've backed in the past and what our expectations, were and are. So, yeah, what are you guys thinking? What's on your mind?
What month would you be willing to wait for this book?
Who thinks Val should do her homework and actually do what we know she's going to do, which is all A's in absolutely everything she ever does?
Mm-hmm. Me.
Yeah.
So, I've worked for my other job in about 30 minutes. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up?
I would actually, unless there's something super urgent, I would prefer to hold off on other stuff next week. I think this is enough of a conversation this week that everybody's kind of got something to take home from this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that with this in mind, we can kind of each decide what we need to do to figure out the next week, and we can post timelines and the lists and all that kind of stuff. And we've got a lot there's a lot of work to do. Obviously, I expect my phone to blow up like it has been with Discord messages and emails for documents getting adjusted and stuff like that, which is exactly what we should be doing, but we all know that. So I don't know what else there is that we need to talk about right now besides this. So
yeah,
that's fair.
Next steps for me from a layout point of view, like I said, regions they're done except for the things that we know aren't done, like what goes in that little margin and all the handwritten notes. But regions are done at this point, except for what I might need to copy and paste in there. And like I said earlier, just to reiterate, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out sections. I've already done the welcome to and introduction and put what exists in there already. And, you know, I know it's going to change, but the layout's already done. So I'm going to start doing that for everything as much as I can so that I can get ahead of the game. I would rather spend my time recopying and pasting correct information than waiting to the last minute and being like, okay, well, I guess I need to lay it out now, and then coming up with an issue.
Right.
The con to that is making sure my head is completely in the game and that I'm copying everything exactly right in case there's not an issue. So there's pros and cons to it, but I think it's the only way to be able to keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. So it'll just mean in that last editing phase, we're just going to find some things and I'll have some time to fix it. So.
When would you like me to send you all of the notes I have of like things in regions? Just like little word replacement things.
I think the best time to do that is when everybody here has every single thing done in all the regions. Titan Shard is kind of its own, because I basically have a gap. There's not like, it's basically, I'm just going to fit it within, I'm just going to squeeze it in, basically.
It's
so
like a mini
don't
module.
Worry about that.
It's a dungeon.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to have its front page and its end page, and I can just insert it in. So for getting Titan Shard, as long as everybody can absolutely say that regions are now edited, every section of every region, I can close that out as soon as you send me that.
And that's then we're including the fiction in that, right?
I'm not even including the fiction in that, because the fiction, once again, I can insert those things in. In fact, it's hard for me to show it to you, but what I do in InDesign is each region is its own chapter, and each chapter is its own chapter, right? And then what in design, what you do is you put all of those separate files into a book. So all I have to do is take one of the fictions and just drop it in, and all the page numbers go and get fixed. So I'm not even worrying about the fiction for that. Just the regions other than fiction and Titan Shard.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Okay. I am going to let everyone go. Thank you all for sitting down, and we'll talk more in the Discord and work some more stuff out, okay?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Right, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Love you all.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Anna says well done. Bye.